Okay, we're back again. It's a few minutes to 12, Saturday, Silver Rudder, looking over the little belt, or at least we were. We've got a drone out there filming, trying to get a sort of an idea of what the conditions are like. And as you can see in the picture, it's very, very, very quiet. It's very, very little wind. There's a slight patch of wind down there towards Rømsø, but there's hardly, the Bøge, I think that is, we can see in the background. There's very little wind, which is a terrible, terrible shame. I mean, just think the amount of work that everybody's put into this and the distance people have sailed and driven to make this event happen. And there are the boats. There the boats look drifting away, nets in the wind. But look, we mustn't give up yet. There are still some guys out there battling away. In just a second, I'm going to share my screen with you so you can see the trackers and see the boats that have continued to move. Remember, the picture you see here are pictures of boats that are in the little belt where they have absolutely no wind whatsoever. But it looks quite different if we simply look at the tracker here. Now, bear with me, because as soon as I share my screen with the tracker, the host, let me see just a second, share my entire screen. There you go. Okay, there we go. Now you can see my screen there, can't you? That's a very, very small picture that you get, don't you? Which is pretty useless. Bear with me a second. I'll see if I can improve that in a second. And I'll see if not, I'll get my other technician to help out here. Let's try that. There you go. That was better, wasn't it? Now you've got the whole picture. I would like to have somebody confirm for me. You can see what I can see. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to shuffle through the various starts. And if you look at the, we'll start with the minis. I mean, they're really, really tough. They're battling it out there. You see there? They're in the opening of the little belt, and some of them haven't even passed Streep, a few of the lighthouse at Streep, before Middelfart. Yeah. And if you look at the leading boat, this is Honk in his plateau 25, Veneto plateau 25, and if you can see the speed on the right hand side where my cursor is, he's only doing 0.5 knots, as is Thomas Brosta in his Melgis 24, only doing 0.1 knots. So they're pretty much parked there. Patrick Heinrich, who's been the lead most of the time, is parked completely. We'll go back to them because there are actually some boats that are moving nicely. This is such a shame. We'll move to the small boats. Now the small boats class is there's quite a spread. The boat that I've got my cursor on at the moment, I'll move even further. The boat that I've got my cursor on at the moment, is Morten Bogaki. And like I said a few minutes ago whilst we were live streaming, that it's no surprise that he's in the lead. Morten's in the Dilla 30s One Design, Marcus Rosan in the Pogo 30 Liberty, and then Dirk Mano in the LA 28. And then, probably the most consistent sailors here have been Arne Kulpen in his 64 X302, done very well. So has Fiel France, that's Franz Schollmeier, has been right at the front throughout the day and night. As have let me see who else has been right up there. I mean, it's such a shame that the people have been parked there. It's such a shame. But as you can see, there's quite a distance. Some of the boats are coming up to Hiljenes or Hornnes, and some of the boats haven't even entered into the little belt yet. Yeah. Okay, let's move on to the next class of boats, which is the. I'm just going to take off some sound off my phone because it's very annoying with the shuffling around. There we go. We'll try. We'll try moving into the. I think you got the message. The technician on the other side, Fleming. We'll move on to look at these middle-sized boats. I just wrote to a friend who's on a boat, Søren Juhl, in his Albin Express, and he said, "Oh, there's quite a few boats around me that are giving up." And I said, "You're a tough guy. You're not going to give up." And he said, "I can't. I don't have an engine." So that's that pretty much has covered that. Let's look at this class of boats here. This is the medium class boat. So this is this is sort of one of the races that has intrigued me a lot because I've just been so close throughout the night. And actually most of the boats in in this particular start have been fighting it out in previous years as well. Right at the front there, and he's still got a comfortable lead, but his lead's been reduced from 9 miles to just 5 miles. So you've got the tough Swedish guy in Piers Vanberg in the lead in his Quai, Far East 21, and you've still got Stefan Berge in Gordo Bimbam in his in the second place, and Uwe Latarius in third place. And I can see the black Caravella doing 3.5 knots. Let's just try and find him. He's now a little bit further behind, lost a bit of speed. There's obviously a little bit less wind there. J33, Jan Boom in 5th place. And then a couple of X99s, yeah, which is nice to see. I keep talking about the way the X99s just seem to manage to be right up there, which is great, nice to see. X35, Maximo Mikkel Harker in 12th place. Thomas Nielsen in 11th place in his Max X99. I raced the World Championships X99 in that boat about, I'm just trying to remember how old I am, about 10 years ago in Germany. And we got beaten really badly by amazingly good German X99 sailors. We thought we could race the boat, but we turned up and we were wiped off the surface of the sea. Let's move on a bit, look at some more classes. Look at the large boats. The large boats haven't changed that much. The order, you still got a handful of X362 sort of quite close to the top, but in the lead is Bondi, Sven Gurka, in his 36-1 design. And then you've got to catch up, still in second place, Björn Svager in his IMX 38. No, the Björn's doing 5.9 knots, and that's a pretty good speed. Considering the fact that some of the boats are completely part of the Little Belt, and the other boats have actually cleared the Little Belt and coming towards Boru and the islands in the southern Little Belt, and they've got speed, they're doing 5-6 knots. So it's such a shame for the boats to be parked. And the worst thing is the boats that have decided to give up, they'll come out of the Little Belt with their engines running, doing 5.8 or 6 knots, and they'll suddenly see boats ahead of them sailing at a speed of 6 knots. It's terrible. And these boats are sailing; they're not motoring. You can tell they're varying courses, looking for wind and so on. Yeah. Okay, let's move on a bit there. You got the Knaphorn is J39 modified with Stefan Knabe, and then you got Lily 362, the X362 Sport. Yeah, and another 362 Sport with Frank Mantville, and then Nick in his Do 440 Performance with Oliver Langhans. Let's move on to the next classes. They're extra large. A lot has happened in the extra large class. I can tell you now that some boats have in fact changed positions. I've been told that 2 of the absolute leading boats that have been leading throughout the night, that's Martin Meridian in his Landmark 43 and Henrik V. Jørgensen in his Xbox 43. Unfortunately, they both quit the race. They've both got a long way home. I know that the Henrik Jørgensen called, and he's the chap that's been such a great help with the event and has sent us all kind of fun facts, and always responsible and very, very helpful in giving us information on mask clearances and race tactics and all kinds of stuff. I mean, he's been a real great help to me throughout the spring preparing for this race. So Henrik, thanks a lot. It's great to have you on board, and we're sorry to see you leave the race. Martin Meridian, who won the start of the extra large boats last year, we're very unhappy to see him leading the race. Let's move up a bit more. We'll try and get some lights on here, get some more of the boats going here. You got Lofer 28, Phoenix, Jan Reiners, and Richard Roth in the XP44, second position, and Peter Kreutz in the Dealer 43. And then you got the biggest boat in the fleet after that. I'll just go back and find him. There he is. The green boat Shamix, the beautiful X55 that we visited a couple of days ago. Søren Jorgensen in his Volo, Grand Soleil 43, lovely boat. Axel Grau in 6th place in his Mopion X442. Henrik Gersling in his Loyal and Awesome. I think that's a German phrase, I believe. Yeah. Okay, we'll move down a bit, down the list of participants here. Move on to the next category. We'll look at the multi-hulls, starting with the small ones, with Lars Kempfe in first place, doing nicely there. We just find him on the screen. There they are. Look, can you see my screen there? With Lars Kempfer there in the lead. I'll just flash him up again. He's further ahead. He's much further, and I apologize. This is where the fleet. Can you see the? And those of you watching the screen today, look at the distance between Lars Kempfer and the boats behind him. He's only doing 2.7 knots, but there's a little bit of wind at the mouth of the Little Belt, and the southern mouth of the Little Belt, and they're doing, the boats following, they're doing 4.5 knots, and some of them are completely parked. So it's very, very patchy wind conditions. But Lars Kempfer's in the lead, 18 miles ahead of the next competitor in his Farrier F28 race. And then you've got Rüdiger Schwarz in his Gecko, Dragonfly 25. And you can see the rest of the list there. I'll move on briefly to the multi-hulls, large multi-hulls. Excuse me, I'm going to change screen a second because we want to have a look at the drone pictures once in a while. The picture you can see just there is Thomas Walling in an Ulva. I just lost the picture there. That's Thomas Walling in his Ulva, and he's got to come all the way back to Svendborg. I recognize the boat. Just excuse me a second. Yeah, my friend Max Kakenmeister just sent me a picture. I wish I could show you. It says 0.0 knots, 0.0 wind. Thank you. We will see you. Yeah. All right. Tough going. Tough conditions. I'm going to write. Yeah. Thanks very much for all of you, being so kind to write to me and, constantly keeping us sort of up to date with what's going on and stuff. It's really, really nice to hear from you. And I'm sorry if I don't answer your messages straight away. Please bear with me. It's got a lot of buttons to press and a lot of cameras to keep an eye on here. And as you know, we're just amateurs doing our best to give you a really good event. So look at the picture of the Little Belt from the drone there. There's literally no wind whatsoever. The ripples on the sea, there aren't even waves, they're ripples. Are simply just from motorboats passing. It's their wake, needing a little bit of water there. Yeah. I'll just do the large multi-hulls again. I'll just return to my page here. So sharing our page. And the large multi-hulls look like this at the moment. With Black Marlin in the lead and 10 miles ahead of the next boat. Yeah. So he's already past Lure. Went south of Lure in order to keep a little bit of wind. Yeah. Okay. And then you've got Alan Tunnerson in his Farrier 31 in second place, 10 miles behind, doing 0.3 knots, which is him, the purple one. He must be completely parked with no wind whatsoever. And then lovely name, Magic Carpet, in the yellow icon here with Brian Tunnerson in his Farrier again. And then down the list, looks like they're both got very, very, very varying speed conditions. I'm just going to go back to the screen here. And see if we can get our cameraman to take a quick break. Yeah. There's another boat. Look, there's a Dela 34. Which has left the race, and behind that it looks like it might be a Dealer 36 SQ. Back, I'm not sure what the good-looking boat with the yellow spinnaker is. I remember it in the harbour. Beautiful-looking boat with a teak deck. It looks like it's been painted with kiwi or with oil grip. Gorgeous-looking boat. You probably recognise it in the harbour. Sort of around 40 foot. Anyway, it's very, very quiet here. Would like to take a break, and we'll be back with you in a few minutes.